Hello, everyone. This is Demetrius Curry coming to you with the Wealth with a Vision tour. We are so excited today because we have some wonderful guests, Miss Angela Sanders, registered nurse, and we are going to ask her some really great questions about what's going on in this pandemic. Now, what I want to do is first introduce you to the Wealth with a Vision tour. If you is your first time getting a chance to hear one of our Wave Talk segments, we have been getting together with our sponsors and our partners to let them tell behind the scenes of what started them on this particular venture. So we're excited to be here with you, and I'm going to bring in this wonderful, wonderful woman. And before I do so, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Angela Sanders. She has been a registered nurse in the field for almost 4 decades. I mean, goodness, you talk about a veteran in the field. And we are so excited to be able to sit down with her, ask her some questions about what we should be doing in our health, what she's seeing here right now in this 2020 vision. And so let's bring her on and let's go ahead and just say, hey, Angela, are you there?
Hi, how are you? Welcome, WAV Tour. Yes.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And when I brought this to you last year, you and I were talking about what can we do to not only teach people about wealth in their finances, but also wealth in their health, right? And
Yes.
so I was so glad that you were, willing to partner with us as one of our key sponsors. And so I'm thankful that we are here together today to talk about what's going on in this economy. So before we do that, tell us a little bit about your journey over these last 4 decades of being a registered nurse. What have you seen? I mean, I know it's a lot to ask, right? But let's just say what you've been seeing in 2020. Let's narrow it down because
that helps a whole lot.
Let's narrow it down. So tell me what your thoughts are. What have you been seeing out here?
Oh, well, one of the things before Rona even came into the picture, as I call her, we have a terrible rating with hypertension, obesity, and also too with heart disease. Unfortunately for me, my hometown, of course, is Alabama. And one of the things that I noticed when I transitioned from Maryland back here to Alabama is that obesity is a lifestyle. A lot of my clients and patients were being admitted to the hospital with heart attack symptoms, which we're having to rule out. And the disturbance for me was that they were anywhere from 30 to 60 years young. Whereas when I first started out my nursing, my heart attack patients were 70, 80 years old. So we have seen a revolving door with the heart disease, and it's affecting young people more so than the elderly because we're not eating right. We're not taking our health seriously. So we have to do better in those areas. And I guess the question is how to do that. How do we get back to the journey of health and wellness?
Yes. And how do we do that if you're seeing that more so now in the younger generation than, just in the seniors? What do we need to be doing?
One of my things that I do as a bedside nurse, depending on your diagnosis, when you enter into the hospital world, as I call it, I try to make sure that I'm educating you. Even though you may be a repeat offender, as I call it, I'm still going to educate you and try to make sure that I'm focusing on those points for when you are discharged from the hospital, because hopefully you're going to go back to your community. Right. So I want you to be able to take that education that's going to be measurable to you and practice it in your home setting, because that's where it's most important. Because the last thing I want you to do is come back to my house, which is the hospital. I don't want you to come back. So I'm going to give you the tools that you need to help you be a winner with your health. I think the other thing that we have to do, especially now that Rona is here and have this kind of at a standstill, is to have an accountability partner. That makes a huge difference because they're going to hold you accountable to what you told them. I think that's the biggest achievement with anybody who is setting goals, is to have accountability partner. Right. Because again, both of you all are feeding off each other. You're sharing ideas, whether it's recipes, exercise, workouts, or just general conversation about mental health, which is also deficit right now in the community with Rona. We're seeing an increase in psych issues with our community and society.
Our community. Wow.
Yes.
And one of the things that, we've noticed is that we're having more difficulty getting a true diagnosis of what really is going on with us. Don't
Yes.
sometimes you think it's one thing and really another, and you have to go to a specialist to even find out those things. So, with healthcare being different than what it used to be, being able to get the right healthcare is also an issue.
Right. And you know what's really a good thing with Rona? She has some good points that she has driven into us as a society. You now have telehealth. So you don't even have to leave your home. You can access your doctor through a phone call or through video like we're doing. So there's no excuse in saying, I'm going to cancel my appointment because I don't feel like going. So you can just dial up your doctor or your PCP right from your home and do a Zoom call and get everything that you need right now. So that's one good thing that came out of Rona is that we now have more telehealth. A lot of times you don't even have to wait for a doctor. You can see a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. So they are very viable in our community right now with everything that's going on.
Oh yeah. And with I work with quite a few, medical facilities, as you know. You and I talk on and off camera all the time. So, I work with a lot of medical facilities and all of their benefits and so forth for their staffs. And one of the things that I hear a lot just this week alone is those people that are essential, that's dealing with the coronavirus and trying to keep themselves healthy enough where they don't take it back to their families, right?
Right.
How are you dealing with that with you having you're being with your children and your grandchildren? You're trying to make sure you stay healthy yourself and avoid bringing anything home to them.
Well, one of the things that I did when Rona first entered into our society environment was that I amped up on my vitamins. I keep vitamin C, I keep my zinc. I have been doing L-lysine for years. And I do my vitamin D, which is very important for everybody. Yes. So while people were loading up on Lysol spray and Clorox and those chemicals, I was loading up on my vitamins. I also try to make sure that I get some sunshine because that activates your vitamin D.
Right.
So, I tell people all the time, it's okay to load up on the Clorox, the Lysol spray, but get your vitamins and get your immune system up. Yes. Because the one thing about Rona, she doesn't care who you are and what your health is. But if you already have compromised health issues, you're an easier target for Rona.
Yeah. You fussed at me about my D3. I remember. Demetrius, get you some D3 vitamins. You might be taking them.
Yes.
Yeah, I love having my nurse practitioners all the way around me and say, you want to do it?
Yes. You need your vitamin D.
We need vitamin D. And as a matter of fact, we have a question here. Miss Mika Robinson wants to ask, what are some specific things, vitamins, natural herbs, exercise people can do today to get on the path to a healthier lifestyle and boost the immune system? You were addressing that. But if you want to add anything on that regarding herbs and exercise, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, for me, I don't do salt. I don't do sugar. I'll do honey, or either I'll do the Himalaya salt. And what I do is cook with a lot of natural herbs that I get from the grocery store, whether it's rosemary, oregano, basil, spearmint. I do all of those herbs when I am cooking because then I don't have to worry about using salt, which is a favorite thing for a lot of people, which drives up your sodium level, causes a lot of swelling, and it causes cardiac issues. So I tell people all the time, cook with fresh herbs and do fresh vegetables. If you can't do fresh vegetables, at least do frozen because both of those are good. Try to stay away from the canned goods because they are loaded with a lot of sodium. Yes. Stay away from the sodas because they're loaded with a lot of sugar. Yes. So I always tell people shop in the outside aisles. That's where a lot of your healthy things are, For the people who love meat and can't just can't get it out of their diet, try baking it or pan searing it or not frying it, but at least use olive oil if you're going to put it on top of the stove because that's going to keep your cholesterol levels down. So you just have to go and do it, as I say, a roundabout way to get to your destination. So you can definitely stay healthy because the bottom line is you want longevity. You don't want just a quick fix. You're trying to do this for a lifetime.
That's right.
Because you want to enjoy your wealth, which is where you come in.
You want to stay around here long enough to enjoy
Yes.
your wealth, right? So
Yes.
and wealth
Yes.
in your health and in your finances.
Right. As a matter of fact, what have you noticed or what have you seen with you being the wealth expert with this coronavirus? What have you noticed about people and their finances?
Well, one of the things that has been standing out to me lately is people are trying to say, hey, I didn't get prepared for this earlier, but I want to start preparing for this right now if it ever happens again. So that's been like a big thing right there. People saying, hey, I know we hadn't had a chance to work together. Hey, Dee, you talked to me last year, but I'm ready now. Really a lot going on and saying, hey, I didn't get a chance to prepare, but now I truly understand what you mean about being able to have access to extra cash and being able to utilize. Another thing that I work on with the life insurance is making sure that you can use your life insurance while you're living for critical care things, for specified health event things, for terminal illness. So those things are really important, especially in this, corona pandemic situation, that you're able to use your stuff that you're making payments on every day
Yes.
in the event of emergencies. And health is one of those emergencies you just can't detect.
Right. Definitely so. I agree with you. And I think one of the things that's come out of it from wealth and health is being proactive.
Yes.
Now that Rona has hit, for me, I haven't spent anything. I haven't shopped. I haven't spent anything. If I bought something, it was of a necessity.
Yes.
But I find that I've saved even more money with Rona being in the atmosphere than I would have compared to last year or the year before last. So there are some positives that are coming out of this situation with Rona. I know one lady was saying that she has been or started a DIY project, do it yourself project. And she, because she was an essential worker, or not an essential worker, she was home. So she started her DIY project. And that's what she's been working on. And I was like, kudos to you. So I find that a lot of people are doing their DIY projects. Yes, a lot of people have started that business that they've been procrastinating on, which is a plus because that extra money that you're not spending to buy lunch every day, you're putting it into your business of being an entrepreneur. So that's a good thing. So there's been some good that has come out of this situation. Mm-hmm. And, I tell people, focus on the positive. Don't focus on the negative, because if you focus on the negative, it's going to keep your mindset at a still rate, and you don't want that. So yes.
I noticed is that there are more and more people that are farmers now.
Yes.
They've created their own vegetable gardens.
Yes.
Their backyards. And, I have friends in Georgia and South Carolina and California, and they're all doing vegetable gardens because they're at home.
They're at home. Right. And what better to eat than your vegetables? My granddaughter has her vegetable garden on the balcony. And she sings to her vegetables, and they are just gorgeous,
One of the things I love to do is, basil and parsley and thyme, cilantro and things like that. I love the natural herbs, so I always try to cook with natural herbs. So I told my husband, I said, I should have went ahead and did my little herb garden like I planned on doing it, but didn't get a chance to get involved with it yet. But I was like, wow, that I think is one of the biggest thing of pivoting that I've seen, like on social media, of people's gardens and everything, which I think is fantastic.
Right. And plus too, vegetables are easier to digest. They're better for your body versus meat. It's okay to throw the meat in there every now and then if that's what you choose to do. But for a day-to-day rate, you can throw vegetables in an omelet. You can eat vegetables raw, or you can steam them. So there are so many health things that are an advantage of consuming vegetables. So, I try to encourage that, especially as a bedside nurse. Yeah.
We have a question here that says, how do you feel about sea moss?
Sea moss, I have heard about it. I have not personally tried it myself. It just looks grossed out to me, and that's just my personal opinion. But I've known one or two people that consume it on a daily basis, and they love it. They said that it has some added benefits for them personally. But for me, I have not tried sea moss.
Okay. And is there any specific multivitamin you would recommend for women 40 plus and children 12 plus?
I do vitamin B12. And because it gives you energy, it boosts your immune system. I don't do the multivitamin because for me, I find out it makes me overeat, so I stick with vitamin B12, and I do 1,000 micrograms every day. And that's my energy. That gets me going in the morning, grab my bottle of water, and I'm out the door with my smoothie. So,
Yeah.
but I think once you integrate the natural herbs and do that switch around, so to speak, you won't have to even really take vitamins because you're feeding your body with healthy herbs and grains and fiber and things of that nature. So
Right.
hopefully, if you take that route, a lot of times you don't even have to do the vitamins.
Oh wow. I'm very big on natural herbs, as you know. So I do a lot of
Yes.
oils and things of that nature. Don't really do a lot of vitamins that I take over the counter type vitamins because my digestive system just really don't like them. So that
Yes.
that's another thing that it's hard to
Yeah.
digest sometimes.
Right, right. And I tell women all the time, if you eat right and get your meal planning down packed every week, you shouldn't have to really consume vitamins. Now, unless you have a health condition that requires that, then that's what you have to do, so to speak. But for the most part, a lot of times women don't need vitamins if they're consuming a healthy, balanced diet.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah,
I have another question here. Like we got some questions coming in. I'm stopping in between because I don't want to move through
that's fine.
I was actually doing it. But another question says, do you drink herbal teas?
I do. I love herbal teas. As a matter of fact, one of my vegetables in my granddaughter's garden is spearmint leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I plucked the spearmint leaves off of the little tree, and that's part of my tea time. Yes, I do natural teas that I get from either I order them from the local Amish market when I'm in Maryland.
Yeah,
They have natural teas and herbs, and then I'll bring them back when I'm home. So yes, I do a lot of herbal teas, and I'll do the natural ones. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Now,
they're really and a lot of them, a lot of times too, they help you sleep good. Yes, the herbal teas.
what would you recommend for a good sleep herbal tea?
I usually do chamomile. I'll do the chamomile leaves, and also too, I'll do orange because I like the flavor of it. So either one of those two for sleep, I'll do. For a pick me up, I'll do peppermint.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that when I first met you last year, that I learned was the three B's. And I said, what's the three B's, Angela? Tell us more about the three B's because I know that's one of your specialties is the three
Yes.
B's and basically attacking the health issues with men and men in society.
Yes.
So let's talk
Yes.
about that.
One of the things that I noticed when I returned or transitioned here back to Montgomery, Alabama, was that, again, obesity was just a lifestyle. I started looking up the numbers and what have you, and I read that Alabama is number 48 out of the 50 states for poor health. They get an F. Hypertension, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, BMI. Those are the three B's that affect Alabama particularly. So those are things that I, again, as a bedside nurse, work on when patients are admitted. Or if I'm doing a community event, I share that as well. I think a lot of it is the culture and how we grew up, because we grew up on the pig, the cow. We picked our own vegetables in the summertime, getting ready for the fall. But a lot of it is just habitual, and we have not been able to break the cycle. Sweet tea, the lemonade is one of those things that are huge here in the South. So I try to make sure that when my patients or my participants at events, try to make sure that they know the difference between a grain, a fiber, O's for sugar, because a lot of your foods have a hidden sugar in those. They're in an OSE. Trying to make sure that they know how much salt they're supposed to have per day, and mostly encouraging water. If they don't have any health conditions that compromise that, trying to make sure that they're consuming water more so than lemonade or tea. One of my coworkers, she used to go downstairs to Chappie's every morning and get her a large tea.
Yes.
And she was complaining one day because she was a little dizzy. And I said, how about we just try this? I say, for every cup of tea that you drink, you have to drink that same amount of water. And she looked at me and gave me one of those faces. I say, you talk about losing weight come February. This was December. She was going to a Valentine's event.
Yeah.
I say, trust me, if you take my route, you'll be able to get in your dress by February. And she just looked at me. She said, okay. Do you not know February came, she was able to get in the dress and go to the event. And
Wow.
by the time May and June rolled around, she wasn't even drinking any tea at all. She was consuming her water.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So she lost weight.
Hmm.
Her doctor even noticed that her blood pressure had come down and she was saving money. I said, that money you were spending on tea, you can put that back in your savings account or your checking account. Yeah. And you help your health. So yeah, I was really proud of her. And she thanks me all the time, even though she still rolls her eyes at me. She thanks me all the time for that.
Sometimes you got to, like I know she's saying the right thing, but
Yeah. She did really, really well. I was just really happy for her. And her health has been much better and she's been more on top of it.
yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, you throw out that whip, girl. You just throw out that whip.
I try. It's interesting that you say that. One of the things that I told my dad at the age of 6 is that I was going to be a nurse and I was going to save everybody's life. Little did I know at the age of 6 what I was putting out into the world, but it came full fruition for me. And I'm just so happy that I can still be in this thing called nursing 30 years later. I always tell people that for me, because I've been in this so long, nursing for me is just not about nursing. This is my ministry. When you come in contact with me, especially on health issues, when you depart from my presence 5 years later, I want you to be able to say, what you told me worked. I was able to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
That's part of me ministering as well as being a nurse. So that for me is huge when there's a success story that I was able to be a part of.
Yes.
So yes.
Yes.
So, yes.
I know how you feel when you say that, because you want to feel like what you're doing is making a difference. And
yes.
And that they are actually taking what you did taking what you told them to do to get to a better place.
Right.
So
yes.
yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you.
Yes.
So it's been crazy. I mean, COVID is one of those things that you just, you've never seen this in a time frame, 30 years?
Yes, I have never seen anything or experienced anything like this. And I know one of your questions was, because I am an essential worker, one of the things that I've been doing is making sure that I do my hand washing. We get scanned every morning that we go into work. We get our temperatures taken and we have to answer 10 questions before we can even move forward into the building. So that gives me some mental hope that I'm still okay for the most part. I think just continuing to educate the population in wearing your mask, because I tell you, being a nurse on the inside, it's not a pretty sight. It's a war zone right now with this COVID thing and trying to keep everybody healthy. So, I understand a lot of people don't want to wear their mask or they just feel it's not necessary. You need your mask. It protects you, your family, and others around you. So if we can just hand wash, put our mask on, and just making sure that we're practicing safe measures throughout the day, then we can definitely get on top of this thing and this be history.
Oh yes. Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
I got to ask you, every time I see you, I tell you, so your skin is straight glowing. And I know that you do some you are natural. So I talked to you not too long ago about your skin and the things that you make in your own kitchen. You got to tell us about that, because I was like, you need to share in the world what you do that makes your skin always glow. Tell us about it.
Well, I have been dipping and dabbing in herbs for years. I just kind of made it just my personal baby. But this past 2 years, I have upped it a little bit. I do natural shea butter, which comes from Nigeria. I have a wonderful friend there who gets it made up for me and ships it here. So the shea butter has been a huge regimen for me for the past 2 years. We also too have raw coconut oil, which comes from Nigeria. I'm getting ready to bring that to the forefront. But a lot of my things that I've used on my face come from me just adding this, putting this, a pinch of that, make this. I did a coffee mask last week and it turned out really, how you take your coffee and you perk and most people throw the grains out.
Wow.
That's the best part when you're talking about skincare.
Wow.
I have a face mask and a body mask that I'm getting ready to produce and put out there. So a lot of my things that I do are things that I've made from essential oils and carrier oils.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're gonna talk more about that too, because you got some stuff coming up brewing in the future. Ooh, we got to get that out there too.
I do, and I am so excited. I am so excited. I think for me, being over 50, you start to see the fine lines, and I'm like, oh, they don't look good, or I got the bags in front of my eyes. We got to work on that.
Working on my.
So yeah, so I have to go to my lab and produce some things. I have a hair oil that I've been using for this past year. When I went to get my hair done, my hairstylist, I call him my hair wizard. He was like, "Oh my God, your hair is really healthy. What have you been doing?" And so it's been wonderful. My hair oil. I'm working on fingernails and cuticles because the hand wash is just killing my hands. Oh my gosh, it's just taking my hands out.
You wash your hands so much every day.
Yes.
With what you do, that is crazy.
Yes.
You just made me think of something, because we're right at the verge of school opening back up, and we have a question that just came up. What are your thoughts right now on reopening school for face-to-face instructions in August? What do you think about that?
I think if they're going to do this thing from home, I think it's a good thing, because we still got to keep our children educated so they don't get too far behind. I know one of my concerns, I have a wonderful friend that's a school teacher, and her and I have been talking and dialoguing about the reopening of schools. I told her my concerns, if they're talking about kids coming back to the school, how are you going to make sure that kids are keeping their masks on? Or that they're hand washing. So now you're going to see another elevation of this coronavirus come back to force. Yeah. So if they can create a system where it's online, like for college students, it can work. And make sure, that all of our children have access to computers and able to do their homework. It can work. We as adults do online college courses, so it can work. Everybody has to be on the same page.
Yes. And then I think there's a different protocol for each state right now going back to school, and whether the children can wear masks and not wear masks. I saw something online recently where, they didn't want the kids to wear masks in school because of like PE and things like that, trying to breathe and that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be more so of a trial and error to see how it's going to happen. But we've decided to let our son stay home. So
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, because homeschooling right now is the popular way to go. You can monitor to make sure they're washing their hands, that they're eating a proper meal, that they're doing their homework, and still getting some socialization in between. So I think it's the best route right now than opening up schools for kids to flood the hallways and what have you. So yeah, I think that's the best way right now.
I'm with you. Now, we did not get a chance to touch on Man Up. I want to know about Man Up. I saw this. I said, wait a minute, what's she talking about Man Up?
What's she talking about?
Man Up thing. Just fill me in on Man Up. And before we go there, we're gonna bring that up in a second. But Angela, we have a question to you. Angela, my daughter is 13 and wants to be a nurse. What are some things that I can do as a parent, to help her make that a reality? That's a really great question.
Oh my. I guess the one thing is to make sure, I tell anybody, make sure that your heart is there. Don't go to nursing for the money. Go to it because you want to help people be better. Wow. And if that's where your mind is, the one thing you can do is make sure that her subjects in school are catered toward nursing. Mm-hmm. Make sure that she's getting, back when I was doing nursing or when in school, we had the candy stripers. Mm-hmm. I was a candy striper every year for 3 years. I couldn't wait to put on that pink and white little cute dress with the white shirt and get to the hospital. So that's where a lot of my learning came from, was being a candy striper. And of course, they don't have that anymore. You probably can pair her up with one of the nurses that you may know in your community that can help guide her and support her. Here days now, 36 years later, we have like 300 different nursing specialties that you can go into, versus when I came out, it was only maybe 10, So nursing right now have so many avenues. And that's another thing that she needs to look into. Mm-hmm. What roles are nurses playing now? We have so many between the federal government, nurses doing their own thing, educating other nurses, the baby boomers, the new nurses that are coming out. So find out what she really is moving toward whether it's pediatrics or women's health. And then from there, have her connect with someone that you know that may be a nurse or in the nursing field so they can help guide her to her journey, her destination, and go from there.
Right. And one of the things that I see here when I work with the medical office is that they may have high school students or going into high school that are working in the summertime to do a couple hours a week, in the office, maybe at the front desk or things like that, and allow them to come back. It's a program that they usually offer.
Yes, definitely get involved with that. If it's attainable, definitely get involved with that, because then that'll give you hands-on experience, and you can put that on your resume when you graduate from high school. Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. She said, "I will make sure I check."
and she can definitely check with me as well. I'll be happy to give her some nuggets and go from there.
Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing. We were getting ready to talk about the Man Up Project. I want to know more about that as well. Tell us where you started with that.
The Man Up Wise Up came from a concept. I was taking care of a 40-year-old young African-American male that had suffered a heart attack. And this one day I came into work, they said, "Can you take him? He's really difficult. We can't get through to him." And I was like, okay. They always gave me the heart patients. So went in, said good morning to him, find out a little about him, his family, that sort of thing. And I said, okay, now that we have all the information, what's your one goal that you want to achieve while you're here at the hospital? And so he said, I want to get better. I said, so you want to man up? He said, yes, because that way I'll wise up. And that's how I came with the concept of Man Up Wise Up.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so from there, I focus on men health a lot because men are hard-headed, as we well know. They're the ones that are in denial a lot of times. You'd be like, you need to go get that, I know, I'll check on it whenever. By the time they check on it, it's a dire situation because now they're going to the emergency room, Yeah. So men is my biggest focus when I'm doing events, particularly because they're in denial. Okay. They do lack knowledge, because if I get this knowledge, then I got to do something, which means that they are now lack of action because they just want to wait and see what happens. I actually had an Uber driver. He was about 60 years old last year. And he and I got to talking, and he said, "Oh, you travel nurse?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I just in my 3rd year of being cancer free." And I was like, "Oh my God, that is to be celebrated." Yeah. So he's supposed to be dropping me off, but we had a 30-minute conversation talking about his health and everything. And one of the things that he shared his journey with me of what happened, he was being hard-headed. He was in denial, not ignoring the symptoms of his body. And I always tell people, know your body because it will talk to you.
Yes, it will.
And of course, by the time he went in to get diagnosed, it was stage 4 cancer. So I asked him, I say, what is the one thing, being that that what you know today, that you would do different now with the information and knowledge that you have? And he said to me, I would have started taking care of my health in my 20s. I said, okay. And he said, I share that information now because, we as young people feel like we're indispensable. We're going to live forever. Right. And that's not the case. So a lot of times in your 20s, you're ignoring your health. He said he was a heavy smoker, and that played a huge factor in his health. So he said to me, being responsible for my health in my 20s and not waiting till I got sick to take action. Yeah. And I said, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
And believe it or not, it's the approach of wanting to get like car insurance after you've had the
accident. Yes.
It's the same situation. No one's going to cover you at that point.
Right. Or you're high risk. Yes.
High risk, and they're like, no, we refrain from giving you coverage.
Right. So that's how I birthed Man Up Wise Up. I actually had a website for a while. I had about 10 men that I was working with their health. I had one that had gone to the doctor, and he was borderline diabetic. And he reached out to me, and we did a health scenario and assessment. And I said to him, I said, we're going to treat your health as if you already have diabetes. He said, but I don't have diabetes. I said, but we're going to treat your health as if you have diabetes, because now you're going to reverse your practice of how you approach your health. It starts with the mental.
Yeah.
And we did that. He had gone to originally the doctor. His A1C was like 12.8. And for those who don't know what an A1C is, that is a 3-month compilation of
Wow.
your blood sugar reading. So a lot of people will come in and go, no, I haven't been eating sugar, whatever. We do your A1C, we already know.
Wow.
So in about 3 months, he went back to the doctor. His A1C went from 12.8 and it had dropped all the way down to 7.2. We like to see it at 5, no higher than 6.
Right.
So he was making progress. He had downloaded an app that I had suggested to him that shows you all the calories or the sugar content in everything, so
Yeah.
you can count your carbs throughout the day.
Okay.
So he achieved his goal, and he reaches out to me from time to time. He says, I'm still doing good. I'm still remembering. I still got the app downloaded. And I say, that's good to hear. So the 10 men that I work with, they were good with their health. They're doing well. And a couple of them have lost weight. And they're staying good on their journey. So yes, that's how Man Up, Wise Up came to be, focusing on men's health.
That's amazing. And then you said his A1C was like 12.5.
It was like 12.8, which means you just drinking sodas, eating cheesecake all day.
And when you said that, I was like, is he still walking around?
He's still walking around. I mean, his blood sugars were running anywhere, he said, from 200 to 300 before meals.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
yeah.
Up there. That is
yeah.
Up there.
So he now manages his diabetes with just food. You know, the right combination and mixes of food. He does meal prep now.
So he's a diabetic 2. He's a type 2 versus 1. No insulin.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's something else. But you got to get that under control, because it will take you out of here. Diabetes is one of the things that will take you out of here silently.
It is the silent killer, and it gives you no warning. And if it does give you a warning, you need to pay attention. And a lot of times people ignore the headache, that's a prolonged headache, or just feeling a little dizzy and tired. Or I've had the chest pain. Oh, I was working out. That's all it was. You have to pay attention to your body when it's speaking to you, because it does talk to you. It definitely does. One
of the things I want to ask you is that, I've been running into quite a few ladies that are having issues with a digestive system, right?
Mm-hmm.
More so like diverticulitis or things like that, where they have maybe a pocket in their intestinal tract and maybe in their colon or something, and food gets trapped up in there.
Yes.
What would you tell those ladies right now to say as far as what they need to change in their eating habits and that? Because that's becoming so prominent right now with a lot of claims that I work. That's one of the biggest things that women really complain about.
Yes. I tell women who are diagnosed with diverticulitis or ulcers to stay away from corn because it pockets. You definitely have to change the way you eat, because a lot of times we consume large meals at one time and our digestive system can't break all that food down properly. So you get all these leftover issues with with the meals that affects your digestive tract. So, I always tell people eat 6 times a day versus 3 times a day, because usually you're able to break down your portions as well. Mm-hmm. Definitely not eating before you go to bed. I tell people once you eat, sit up for about 30 minutes. Don't lay down and eat. Definitely consuming your water is very important for your digestive system as well. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times staying away from spicy food, hot food all the time, because people want to put the hot sauce, the tobacco sauce on there and just drench it. They just drench it on the fried chicken and the fried fish. They're just drenching it. So definitely staying away from hot foods, spicy foods, because it does upset the lining of your digestive tract. And definitely you have to exercise, because when you're exercising, you're eating right, you're moving things along. Things don't stay stationary. They move along. That decreases the constipation. I also, too, for me personally, stopped eating beef and pork years ago. The last couple of times that I had consumed beef, it had my system stagnated. Mm-hmm. It had me bound up. So I cut all of that out. So you definitely have to rewind or re-event your meals and make sure that you're getting the proper amount of fiber or the proper amount of iron. Those are definitely consistent with how your body breaks down what it consumes.
Wow, you're a wealth of knowledge. I mean, goodness, you have almost 4 decades of info.
I try. I try. Thank you. Thank you.
I tell my girlfriend, I said, I need to call Angela and ask her a question.
I'm here.
Oh,
But yeah, I tell people it's a mindset. Once you change the mind, you change your trajectory of how your life is going to move.
Yeah.
It takes 30 days to make it a habit. It takes 60 days to be consistent in it. And it takes 90 days to make it, I'm in here now. So,
wow.
You get past the first 30 days, then you're on a roll. If you can just stick with it.
You're
yes.
on a roll.
You're on a roll.
I'm working on that consistency. I've been doing my jogging and all that good stuff. We talked about that earlier. It's like, girl,
yes. Get that cardio in.
Gotta get it. Well, we're really excited to work with you and just honored that you're part of the Welcome
thank you.
Sponsorship tour and one of our teams, and we just really appreciate you.
Some appreciate you
registered early for this.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a few people that actually said, hey, I want to register real early. And then we had a slew of them come in today. I was like, everybody but you have some free gifts that you're giving away.
Yes, I have a free gift. And one of the things, I'm all about substance. Right. So I have to be strategic in everything that I do because it has to make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So one of these gifts that I've had that I'm giving away in this cute little pink bag that you can wipe it down, because of Rona.
Okay, with some hand sanitizer.
Yeah, with some hand sanitizer and everything. I've had this for a couple of weeks and I have so many of them. And I say this would be the perfect thing to give away. So whoever the winner is, mm-hmm. they are getting a journal.
Oh, I love that.
And it's personally made and it's bedazzled in my favorite color, which is purple. And I love it because it says, Jesus, that's my final answer.
I love that. I love
that. So when you open it up, you can do your Bible study notes because, we're at home now with the church and everything. So you got your notes and it also has a personal pen for you. And you can just take notes and write everything down.
All right.
And it has a couple of sayings for you for every day. So this is the journal. That you can use to help you with Bible study or just jot down notes. I have one girlfriend, she writes a letter to God every morning. Oh. And I just thought I was like, that is really interesting. She said, I write a letter to God every morning. That's how she starts her day off.
Wow. And I had my son pull 2 names from the registrars list. And he pulled Miss Jean Gilliard. I think Jean is actually in Chicago.
Okay.
And the other person he pulled was Miss Sandra Jones. So if not familiar with Sandra Jones, but we have her contact information here.
Yes.
That they have those.
Yes. The other gift that I'm giving away is a container of our coconut oil that I haven't put out yet. So I have the containers. They've already been prepared and everything. So she'll get a personal container of my coconut oil. So she can tell me how she like it.
And this is the coconut oil that you actually have produced with your new company that's coming out. Yes. That's why. So we got some exciting things coming.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
My coconut oil is from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. It's made from Nigeria and what have you. So there's no additives, no formatives, and it just comes straight from there. It comes packaged. And then I break it down and put it in my special containers. My company that's coming out is As In Skincare because when you're using my products, your skin is as it is. You're just enhancing it with my products. So my coconut oil is a virgin coconut oil straight out of Nigeria. Okay. And it's wonderful. It's amazing. It's good for your cuticles. Definitely. Okay. Yes. So I have my containers. I got to put my label on there and put some coconut oil in there and I'll mail it off to her. Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay. So is it just like pure coconut oil, the unrefined, or
yes, unrefined raw coconut oil,
oh,
nothing added to it.
that's good.
Yes. Just like my shea butter, which is waiting to come across the waters.
Oh, yeah. That
Yes.
you get it from authenticness in there.
Authenticness. Yes. Yes. Indeed. So yes.
It's
So
amazing.
I'm really excited about it. I love the products. I've been using the coconut oil now for 2 years. So I
Okay.
was like, okay, it's time. It's time now. So
Okay.
yes, I use it on my hair. I use it on my skin. So it's multi-purpose. Yes.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. Thank you so much for giving us so much knowledge.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
Tell us,
Yes.
tell us how we can stay connected to you and where we can find you on social media for people that want to connect with you.
I am Angela Sanders on Facebook. I'm in a bright yellow outfit, which is my favorite color. I am on Instagram at 1221 Ethnic Store. And also, too, they can reach me at Angela Bridget, and it's ANGELA BRIDGETT at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Yes, but at any time, reach out to me. I'm available. If you have any questions for health or what have you, definitely, I'm available.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I know we went over our normal 30 or 40 minutes, but we had
That's
a lot of
okay. I had a ball. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for being a wealth of knowledge about wealth. I've learned a lot from you, just particularly this past year. You came in and pulled things and put that together and gave me a folder and say, here you go. This is what we're doing. I was like, okay. Okay, that's fine with me. So I appreciate you, being who you are and doing what you do with your expertise. You're simply a phenomenal woman.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's my honor, madam.
Yes. And mine as well.
The Nigerian madam.
Yes, madam. Yes, yes, yes. Do so.
I appreciate you so much. We got so much more to bring to you here at the Wealth of the Vision Tour coming up. Not this particular weekend, but it's going to be the weekend following. We're going to also have Don Daniel with us from the Peel Method talking
Okay.
about cancellation of interest. Hey,
Oh, okay. That's going to be exciting.
yes, I work with him as well on helping several people pay off their mortgage, a 30-year mortgage in 5 to 7 years. So he's going to give a wealth of knowledge on that as well. Yes. So you make sure you be here with us, Angela.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to have my pad right here.
Yes, yes. And it's important because you want to be healthy in all areas
Oh,
of
yes.
life. And that wealth comes in so many different forms,
It does.
especially with your health. So
Yes.
well, we appreciate you, and we're so glad we had a chance to sit down with you today.
Thank you. I actually sat still for a moment.
20 minutes from me. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I know people ask me all the time, where are you? What state are you in? So I get those questions.
Where are you? That's true. Where are you now? Where are you?
Right now, I'm home in Alabama for a minute.
Okay.
Yes, I took a couple of days off and then I'll be headed back to Maryland to go back to the federal government job. So
Yes.
I'm home for a moment.
You're
Yes, ma'am.
everywhere. You're Maryland and Georgia, Alabama.
Yes.
We can't
Yes.
keep up with you. We can't.
I can't keep up with myself sometimes, but you know my phone number.
I got your number. Oh goodness. Well, you enjoy
Yeah.
the rest of your weekend, and we want to say
You like as well, and I appreciate all the viewers. Thank you for tuning in and taking time out of your schedule to join us. I appreciate you all, and thank you so much. Yes.
we're welcome. Thank
Yes.
you everyone for joining us today, and look forward to our next Wealth Wednesdays coming up very soon. Make sure that you attend that as well. We're going to be talking about how to change your life, and not just in health and wellness, but also in those finances. Let's dig deep.
Yes. Yes. Sounds good. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it, and many blessings to you on your journey.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Have a great one.
You have a great one as well, and you ladies have one as well. Have a great weekend. Thank you all.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Much love. Mwah.
Bye.